It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist, a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome our first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Wallman here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Just this is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the chew germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback. All right, and happy Monday to all of you. And thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host,
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program. And to those of you, I just have to say Happy New Year, because I haven't been on the air since last year. Happy New Year.
Right. And it is on, as they say, on and popping. Things are happening, and in this new year, there's talk about a toll road, or plural toll roads in the state of Michigan. But there is some good news. The governor has signed a bill, which is 5091, I think is the number, so that high school students cannot, that's a good thing, graduate until they have taken a test and passed it on a financial literacy. Isn't that good? Financial literacy. Oh, we have a caller already. Oh, my. Yes.
Hello, caller. You on the air? Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please? Hello, caller. You on the air?
This is Lee Cummings, the author of the Negro Question.
Thank you for calling us, Lee Cummings. Tell us who is Lee Cummings.
Pardon me?
Tell us about you, Lee Cummings.
You want the truth or the lie?
Oh, well, the truth works for me. I don't know about other people.
Well, Lee Cummings is You know, I'm a former professional basketball player. I played pro basketball overseas in Australia and Venezuela. And then I came back home, got my degree in accounting, and then I started writing books, and that's the gist of it.
Oh, okay. Well, now that sounds like an excellent opportunity to see how other people live on this planet. But tell us about the book that you have written.
Well, the Negro Question book series is like a 13-part book series. It includes, it's a 7-book series, and then I published 2 Bibles, Moses and the 5 books of the law, and then I became the first African American to publish a dictionary in the United States. I published a Paleo-Hebrew dictionary, and currently we just released the Negro Question video, I Know Who I Am, and it's the entire series plus the video is designed to teach the reader or the viewer his real history. That's basically what it amounts to. That's a summary.
Now, the title of the book is I Know Who I Am.
Well, the title of the video is I Know Who I Am.
Title of the video, okay. And with the video, is that available through a website or YouTube or?
Yeah, you can go to UINTV /Lee / and it'll take you right to the video rental, video sales. But you know, this video has probably has like at least 5 to 6 moving parts to it. It's part animation. You got timelines, spreadsheets, eyewitness accounts, untampered artifacts, and the idea behind the video is this: you know, when you take a man or a group of people and you give them false memories, you end up with what we call a hybrid man. And the purpose of the Negro Question book series is to restore to the so-called Negro in the Americas, plural, his true memories. And that is the objective. But again, you can purchase and rent at the video at UINTV /Lee / or you can go to the Negro Question bookstore, the Negro Question bookstore.ecwid.com. So these are 2 places that the video is available.
Oh, okay. Now, within this video,
I can barely hear you.
Okay.
You're not close to the microphone.
Oh, all right. Within the video, it starts out with an explanation of what?
Pardon me?
In the video, how does it begin? In other words,
well, it starts out with it gives the true origination of the African American. It starts out in ancient Sumer, because unbeknownst to a lot of these seminaries and these historians and this modern historian, people think that the so-called Negro or the African American, that we trace our lineage back to Ham. We don't trace our lineage to Ham. We trace our lineage to Shem. And Shem and Abraham lived in ancient Sumer. And so we have maps in the video from 1723 and 1747 that show that the ancient name of the slave coast was the Kingdom of Judah. And what does that mean? That means that all the blacks that came into the North Atlantic slave trade is Israel. We have the proof. We have these medieval maps. They call the slave coast Judah.
Okay.
So go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I was going to ask a question when you finished what you were saying.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, okay. We talk about hear about the continent of Africa not being originally named Africa, that it was originally named Kemet. Is there another name before Kemet?
We don't. Our research is predicated on the history book that the churches call the King James Bible. Now, the King James Bible mentions Libya as the ancient name of Africa. And there are about 3 or 4 ancient maps from 500 BC. I think it's Hecataeus and Eusebius. Those maps show 3 continents: Europe, Asia, and Libya. Now, how did Africa get its name? Well, Africanus, or Scipio Africanus, the Roman general, defeated Hannibal at the Battle of Carthage, I think in 202 BC. And they began to call Carthage Africa after this Roman general. But the Bible and the ancient maps and the writings of the prophets call Africa Libya. That is the ancient name. I don't know. I have not seen a map that called Africa Kemet.
Right. That's
and so I use it. And the only foundation, the starting point that we have for the research is one of the oldest history books in the world, which is the King James Bible.
That's interesting.
So the second chapter asks, if you go to church or if you've been to church, you always heard the preacher say, on the day of Pentecost, what they don't realize is on the day of Pentecost, the Apostle Peter said that Jews came up from Libya, which is the ancient name of Africa. So Africa, the continent, is mentioned in the writings of the prophets and the apostles, but only as Libya.
I see. And there was a Roman, you say general?
Roman general by the name of Scipio Africanus.
That was his name.
That was his name. And so, that was the thing back in those days. You defeated a country, you named it after, or you defeated a city or a country, you named it after yourself.
I guess that's similar to America and Amerigo Vespucci, again, because they did, more or less conquer the North American continent anyway.
But there was a problem with that ideology. That's another false memory, because if you go back and read the history of ancient Mali, I think Ghana or Mali, they sent 2,000 ships across the North Atlantic in the 1300s. Well, long before, and it was 200. They said 200 ships, anywhere from 100 to 1,000 men, women, and children on the ship across the North Atlantic. That is factual history. 1,300 years. That was almost 100 years before Vespucci Americanus even arrived in this hemisphere.
Okay, so
I think
prior
this also could have been during the time of Mansa Musa. Pardon me?
No, I was just going to say, well, what did they call it before America?
The only documents that I have concerning the matter was, you go back and look at King James writings when they set up the charters. They just called it they didn't call it America. When I looked at the original charters, it just said that the term that they kept using was indigenous people. Now you got brothers and sisters out here who claim to be the original Aborigine people of what they call now North America. And they call themselves Moors.
Right.
They don't call themselves Americans. They call themselves Moors. Once you start doing this kind of research and this type of writing, you run into all the different, I like to use this word as an adjective, Negro organizations in America. And these people know their history. And so to answer the question, I don't know. I said, all I had to do was say, I don't know.
Well, there's so much to research.
I don't know, right?
Yeah, but there's so much to research. Right?
Are you familiar with a historian? He's a local historian, but he's known nationally, Michael Imhotep?
He's an Egyptologist?
He's a well-researched historian. We had him at a Kwanzaa program January 1st.
He's an Egyptologist.
His stuff, is inclusive of Egypt, but he deals with a lot of other aspects of America and even before. And the reason I brought him up is because when we had him at our Kwanzaa program, he was giving some documented evidence about how Africans had been on the North American continent over 51,000 years ago. I haven't had a chance to follow up on it, although I took a lot of pictures of it, because as you said, and I agree, there's so much information that we're discovering.
But
that
you got the floor, but I want to ask a question. You still got the floor. I just want to interject. How is it possible that you can have a documentation? How can you document a civilization at 51,000 years when carbon dating does not exceed 8 to 10,000 years? I don't understand. And then my second question, when these guys are bringing up all these dates, 20,000 years for a civilization, 30,000, 50,000, where are the cemeteries? And then where are the where's the decayed, rotten civilization? They don't ever present that.
Well, you know.
So now the King James Bible, I mean, you still got the floor, but the King James Bible only records 6,000 years of human history. Now, that doesn't mean that the earth is 6,000 years old, because we know that the earth is at least 4 billion years old, but this particular cycle that we're in, like tree rings, is 6,000 years. So I don't understand where they're getting this from.
Mm-hmm. But I do know that cemeteries have not always been a cultural practice like they are today. People were put on what you call platforms, and they were burned.
There still should be some remains of your civilization somewhere.
Well,
like you look at the ancient Sumerians. Now we date that civilization back 6,000 years. You can find bronze work.
I'll just say this, brother.
Mesopotamia. That belonged to the Sumerians that survived all these years. These other civilizations that these people are saying existed, you can't just have word of mouth history, because that's just
a lot of
subliminal for a barbarian.
A lot of history though was passed on. We speak about griots. A lot of it was oral history. It wasn't always written. And I would just say this
to a people.
And I would just add this.
People, it's subliminal. You know what it's saying? I'll shut up, I promise. If you say that your history is oral, then you're basically saying you have no alphabet. If you have no alphabet, then you're a barbarian. You are uncivilized. You didn't write nothing down.
I'll just say this, brother. We all have perspectives and points of view, and I'll just say this, that one thing I will not do or wouldn't do is just use King James Version as my total reference. That's
just a reference in the conversation. We use about 10 to 20 different books, history books that we reference. I'm just bringing that up because of the familiarity that people have with King James, not as a religious book, but as a history book. But I want to stay focused.
And there's some questionable.
When Gentiles or Anglo-Saxons or white people, adjective, when they use the word oral tradition, that's subliminal. That's an insult. It's basically saying that the people had no alphabet. And when you don't have an alphabet, you put yourself in the class of the barbarians that overran the Roman Empire in 450 AD.
Now let me ask you.
Our people have always been able to read and write.
Chinese don't have an alphabet either.
Let me ask you this. Are you familiar with Dr. Ben, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Sheikh Anta Diop, and Dr. John Henry Clark? You familiar with those historians?
I've sampled some of their interviews or their presentations.
Yeah, and I say that because they go back much further than 6,000 years in their research and in their analysis. So 6,000 years, and as you say, this planet is 4 billion years or older. So there was some life at some point. But I brought them up because they and their research, I have quite a few of their books and have met them or attended their lectures, certainly goes way beyond 6,000 years.
But I'm not. See, this is the thing. Like I engage in dialogue with scholars from wide ranges of religions. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. So I speak from the perspective of my history book, not from others. So I'm not here to disprove any other man's history or any other man's religion. I'm simply telling you from the perspective of the Hebrew Israelites. This is what we teach, and this is what we believe. But we only teach facts. And if we don't have the evidence, eyewitness accounts, untampered artifacts, we don't talk about it.
And I was just thinking there's a instructor, a professor who teaches at Wayne Community College, Professor Michael Griggs, who's had a chance to visit Egypt with Dr. Ben and others, and I've actually taken a class with him as well. And so, I understand, brother, because you are, a Hebrew Israelite, that your perspective is wrapped around that, and I respect that. I would just say my research and studies take me a little bit beyond just that scope of learning. But
I'm happy for you. I mean that wholeheartedly.
So what I wanted to do is ask you, though, is to repeat that. You say UIN/TV/
UIN/TV/Lee /Lee/.
Okay.
See, I've had discourse with Egyptologists, and the premise is that Israel had to prove that we were in Egypt. Well, there's evidence all over Egypt. We got walls down. We got circumcision images on walls in Egypt. But we're not Egyptologists, and we don't claim to be from Egypt. We know who we are. But that's not the reason why I came on the show today. I didn't come on the show to disprove the Egyptologists or Brother John Clark, let him rest in peace. I came on to give a description of a video with the artifacts, the eyewitness account, untampered artifacts that proved that the so-called Negro that came into the southern gate by the North Atlantic slave trade is that we are Israel indeed. That's why we're here today. But if you want to do a live debate with me on this show, and you pick a subject, I'll come back.
Personally, I wouldn't want to do a debate. I would defer and let someone like a Professor Griggs or someone who
just
has.
Up to you. Just whatever you guys decide to do, put it together. I will show up.
I want to say that I appreciate you calling, brother, because I'm one who's always looking for enlightenment, knowledge, and information, and that's why I brought up the points that I brought up. And there's so much to the whole story of the human kind in the first place that there's always going to be a lot of information, speculation, and points of view. But I appreciate you bringing it up because then that just means.
But again, brother. And I like your delivery and your presentation is real smooth. I like that. But I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna give you an example of a tree. All right, let's go. Give you an example of a tree. When a tree falls, if you take the time out and you walk past and you look at it, you see rings in it. Each ring represents a year of the life of that tree. I said, and so the earth is the same way. This earth has been around for billions of years. But this last generation of the earth has only been 6,000 years. And so the only reason I made the comment that I'm having a hard time dealing with the numbers that are being presented. Even this thing with Cro-Magnon man and Neanderthal man, millions of years, at the end of the day, the excuse that the white scholars or the European scholars came up with was what? It was prehistory. It was before man learned to write. Well, how can I trust you? And then we got these other organizations saying, hey, all these thousands of years elapsed. Where's your evidence? And again, all we deal with is evidence. If you don't have evidence, eyewitness account, untampered artifacts, how can I believe?
Well, belief is always subjective to the individual, so it's never just something that's a cold hard fact. Now, I know if you research, you're probably familiar with the archaeologist, anthropologist Louis S.B. Leakey, who I believe it was in the Olduvai Gorge of Kenya, who found, I guess, the bones of what they call Lucy, or they just called her Lucy,
right?
And they were over 4 million years, which is definitely a vast span.
But how is that? How can you carbon date? Carbon dating is only good for 8 to 10,000 years. It's impossible. How can you carbon date a bone because the carbon is released? So how can you release carbon that exceeds 8 to 10,000 years? It cannot be done.
Well, with all of this new technology, all of the
Pardon me?
new technology that we have, carbon dating may have been updated, shall we say. But
Well, have somebody Google it in the audience and call in right quick, because I've not seen that.
Oh, okay.
And
Well,
then
I wanted
going
to-
forward, now we're hearing this. The concept is that all life started in Africa. This is what they taught. But if you read the King James Bible, it tells you that it started at the Tigris and the Euphrates River, which suggests Mesopotamia.
Well, and also King James would, as you said, those who conquer name places after themselves, and what's in the King James version probably was to benefit King James. But I want to thank you so much for being with us this morning. And
Well, hey,
as we
the Latin Vulgate was written in 380 AD, 2,000 years before the King James version, and the
Okay.
translation is word verbatim.
All right. So we will keep in touch, and when we have some others who come on, it would be great for you to have dialogue with them and for us to share additional information with those who tune in.
Hey, okay, what's that brother's name? What's your name, man?
For BT.
Hey, man, it was good talking to you. I mean that.
Likewise, brother. As I say, I appreciate knowledge, information, and research, because that's what I do.
All right.
I mean, and you too, sister. It's good talking to both y'all. God bless you all. UIN TV/lead/. God bless.
Thank you so
brother.
much.
God bless.
All right, peace.
Peace.
We have to take a break now, station identification, and stay tuned. Call someone. Let them know that Hood Research is on right now.
And have your pen and paper handy as you see me demonstrate.
That's right. And we'll be back momentarily with our next guest.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
You ready to put your podcast on iHeartRadio? Yes, your podcast on iHeartRadio. What about Alexa, Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Android, or iPhone? Plus live TV streaming. Get your podcast seen and heard all over the world. Call 313-868-6612. Pre-recorded shows are accepted to be archived. This is a WHPR distribution platform. Download the app from the App Store. Go to WHPRTV.com. Channels available for lease 24/7 on Roku, Fire Stick, or Apple TV. Coming soon, subscription and pay-per-view.
Also,
Block Time is available. Get yours. Call 313-868-6612. That's 313-868-6612. Executive producer R.J. Watkins. Program director Henry Tyler. 107.5 FM WGPR HD2. Radio we can see.com.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
All right, everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime! It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome our first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Warmer.
Wally Warmer here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the...
Chew!
That's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am the BD Pinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
And we are back. And thank you so much for staying tuned to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. And our guest this morning is Beverly Kendall Walker, and she is the president of this city
Friends of Detroit City Airport.
Friends of Detroit City Airport, and that organization has been around for how many years now?
33.
33 years. See, they're older than Hood Research. Oh my goodness.
Just a little bit.
Okay, just a little bit. And she's telling us now what's going on in her world.
So you were saying about 2022 just kind of zipped right on by.
It did.
It did. Really, the last 3 years have been a fog, if you will.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
you know, those of us in this struggle have persevered and maintained, around these various situations that have impacted the world. But we have our young children who have been impacted. And right now, it's going to take a lot to get them back to where they were. Technically, the students in Detroit were kind of behind anyway in the third grade in terms of reading literacy. But now the whole country
is behind.
So they shouldn't single us out. But there should be some yeoman efforts to make sure young kids are able to recover from this pandemic in terms of their education.
That's
But to
right.
that end, the airport, Friends of Detroit City Airport and Davis Aerospace Technical High School, we're trying to help keep our young people involved in their educational process, their educational experience. And so that's one of the reasons why we have our building at the Detroit City Airport, Coleman A. Young International Airport, is to help expose young people to aviation.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you know, when you mentioned reading, there is a movement. I went to the Detroit Public School Board meeting this past Tuesday, and I was able to secure a telephone number for those who are interested in tutoring our children in reading. And that telephone number is area code 313-873-7490. Again, the area code is 313-873-7490. And it was just something in the way of getting people to volunteer for the tutoring in the past. So I had to go to the school board meeting because it was just annoying me to no end when you think about the prediction that if our children can't read by the time they get through third grade, there is a prison cell waiting for them.
Right.
So I ask everyone that is hearing us today to test that number, 313-873-7490, 873-7490, to see if they mean what they say. And there are people who are willing and able and want to help, you know?
Right. People need to plug in. Sometimes it's kind of intimidating to go through and volunteer your service, and there's a system of how to do that. And so we just have to agree that the purpose is greater than your personal discomfort, because our kids are really challenged, and so they're going to be failing, unfortunately, in the next year. Because by law, the state of Michigan has to these criteria that haven't been relieved, and so maybe now that we have a majority Democrats in the Michigan State House, they may revisit that law, because it's seriously going to impact our students in the Detroit Public School system.
That's an excellent point. And I'm hearing that the Benjamin Davis Aerospace High School is going to be reopened at the airport.
At the airport. So yeah, it's in the plans. It's not immediate, but we will have the use of the second floor of the main terminal of the
for classrooms.
For classrooms, right? So it has to be retrofitted. But there's so much money out here from the COVID relief money that this DPS got, and so that money should be used to help make Davis Aerospace whole, because we've been so fractional for the since 2013. It has been compromised the education. So our building can hold 2 classes, but we need the whole aviation school to return to a curriculum that is worthy of the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen, and what we need for our young people to get into the market. Right now, we're still only 3% in aviation. Blacks only 3%. So that's just the same as it was in World War II. With the Tuskegee Airmen still the same.
How long ago was that?
Right. Exactly.
And you know,
80 years ago.
Oh Jesus, 80 years ago. And you know, when Lieutenant Colonel Milburn was here with us, he stated that over the next 10 years, we in this country will need 1 million pilots. 1 million pilots is what he said. And that's due, you know, to people, I guess, changing jobs, retiring, etc. And the Benjamin Davis Aerospace was doing its job in producing students who could go forward and complete all of the other additional, you know, training they would have to become pilots.
Pilots and mechanics. You can't fly a plane without having a mechanic who can keep it in the air.
Train that as well.
Exactly. And so that was Colonel Milburn was the first African American commander of Selfridge Air.
Right, over 5,000 employees out there.
Right.
Yes.
And so his field was mechanic. He graduated from the Aero Mechanics, which is now Davis Aerospace. But it's still in that venue. It's just so hard to get children, you know, exposed to that curriculum if you don't offer it like we did in past time. And so we were challenged because of the folks in Grand Rapids, who took our program essentially, the DeVos family, and opened up the West Michigan Aviation.
Again.
Right. And so they actually came to Detroit and got the curriculum from Davis Aerospace. And even some years later, when we went to go visit the school, just to do a site visit, some of the paperwork that they were using still had Davis Aerospace on the pages.
Wow.
So when you go through and you kind of purge stuff, documents, where a couple of pages didn't get purged. So they absolutely use our curriculum as a model. And then we start hearing about, you know, the need to close Davis Aerospace because of some you know, emergency management decisions.
You know what's interesting as I think about it is that even though the DeVos, and we already know their legacy and everything, which is tainted as far as I'm concerned, but the fact that even, it originated here. So even if they want to do whatever they want to do here, or they want to do in Topeka, Kansas, or whatever, we still need to have that facility for this community, which is a very large community as well. We're looking at Detroit and then Wayne County. So even though they may want to do whatever they're doing there, we still have to have it here.
Right.
And I'm glad, sister, I have to say this because you've been at it for a long time. I'm very proud of you for your endeavor, for the time that you put in it, because it's hard to find people who are dedicated to a purpose, and a purpose that helps the overall community. We have people who are fly by night, who do things and then they lose interest. And the same thing with you, Theo. I got to give you your props too. For you all to be 30 plus years into the game, that's something to be respected and acknowledged. And I just want to say that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I was annoyed when I found out about Benjamin Davis Aerospace years ago, because the school board had not published it the way they could have and should have.
Right.
They told us we had 5 vocational schools when we actually had 6. And they did not promote that the way they could have and should have. And my son would have had a pilot's license long before, and he has one now, but he would have had one out of high school. But anyway, you mentioned retrofitting a couple of floors to
accommodate the school.
The school, right. Now, what is the timeline for that?
Exactly.
There's not a stall tactic, is it?
Right.
You
So we really want a new school built from the ground up, dedicated to aviation. But in the meantime, we have that structure, which currently now incubates drones and unmanned aerial facilities. So that's what's going on now on the second floor with the Detroit Aircraft Corporation. And so, but they're going to move to the main executive terminal, because they need the space in the height to build those type of unmanned aerials, which was featured at the last auto show.
I was there and I was able to see that. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah,
it's beautiful. So in order for them to produce more, they need more space, and so they'll be transitioning over to that building, and then the school will be able to come in. But in the meantime, they can still ramp up more space in my building, because as I said, we can accommodate 2 classes at a time in the building. So
and they can start with 2 classes and expand. Okay.
Right.
Now, next month, I'm expecting a date and location to be announced for the February school board meeting. And I'm thinking that we need to attend that meeting and talk about it. Because if you don't continue to bring up the fact that this retrofitting needs a timeline, no telling how long they'll take. Now, when I attended the meeting this month, I brought up the fact that it had been announced that 3 high schools were going to be built. One of them is going to replace Cody High School, and I didn't even try to remember the other 2. However, it hadn't started. They received that money from the president. It's almost $1 billion.
Right.
And that's been, 10 months ago or so now, because it wasn't long after he got in office. And there was money sent to the city of Detroit and money sent to the Detroit Public Schools.
Yeah, $70 million.
Two, separate ones. But there has not been an announcement as to when they're going to start.
Right. Well, Dr. Vitti did have a series of listening sessions, and so they made determinations of what the way forward was going to be. But you're right. There is no defined timeline.
Yes.
You're absolutely correct.
Yes. That's the issue. And since his contract was renewed, maybe he's waiting for the end of that one to get another contract. Nobody knows.
But, well, we have elected school board members that we could apply pressure to, because they represent us and our young people. So that is a good question. We allowed them time to come up with what they're going to do. They said they listened to us. Dr. Vitti said he listened to the community. They did the data, so they know what they want to do. So now the question is making them commit to a timeline. How long is it going to take you to get students back to
that's
the airport?
The timeline.
Right.
And a nice presentation. At every school board meeting I have attended, the superintendent has been present. Now, I haven't gone to every single one, so I can't speak to whether he goes to every single one.
The couple ones that I've gone to, he's been
there?
present.
Oh, okay. So the general practice must be that the superintendent will attend every school board meeting. And he does give a presentation, and he does have slides to show, and it's all cute.
And usually he'll have someone to come over. If you raise the issue in the audience, he'll usually have someone to come over to you and ask you specifically how to contact you to follow up. And they generally do that. So
I experienced that because there was a tree that was leaning over the school that we adopted. And it was right over the area of the building where the little ones are, kindergarten, first grade. And nobody knows when a tree is going to fall.
Right.
And this was a huge tree. And nobody knows whether anybody would have gotten killed if the tree had fallen or just hurt. But that tree had to come down. So I went to that particular school board meeting, and I spoke to that because the day before, 3 trees had fallen. There had been tornadoes out somewhere around the country. And I just pointed that out. That could happen here. So somebody did come over to me, just like you said, when I finished the presentation to the school board, and it was cut down within 2 weeks. So they did, I think, realize the possible liability and took care of it. So this is a serious issue. We're talking about our young people who can go forth and become pilots and mechanics. And we have a lot of young people who are not being, shall we say, wooed or encouraged to stay in school because a lot of the vocational training is out. And I mention this all the time. No more wood shop, no more metal shop, shop. And all of the kinds of things that can cause them to dream and cause them to learn about what they can do, what they can build, and what they can be. And Benjamin Davis Aerospace is a strong area, that school, where our young people can learn about what they can be and what they can do.
Now, I'm just curious, and I admit now I'm in the kindergarten of my understanding of this, so bear with me. But now over there on Dickerson near Jefferson, what are they doing there now? Because from what I understand, they did move some of the, when they closed the one over there, I believe it was on Van Dyke, and they moved some of it down to, I think it was Van Dyke Lynch Road area, something like that. And they moved it down there. What were they, or what are they doing there? And then some of that, from what I'm gathering, will be transferred over to the Coleman Young Airport.
Right. So the Benjamin Davis Aerospace Technical High School was on Urban, which was on the active runway of the city airport. So that was on the northwestern end of the airport. So that was the uniqueness of the school. It was on a runway, had its own taxiway to the runway. The school in Grand Rapids does not have that. It is not on an active runway. Even the school in New York, which is the best aviation school for high school students, it is not on a airport. So that was the uniqueness of our school. Wow. The emergency manager under those crazy people who were head of them, but Jack Martin was the last person who we thought was going to be able to save our school because he had that kind of mentality. He was from the military. But again, he didn't. the school was moved from the airport down to Golightly, which was a culinary arts school. Davis was a high school, not a career technical center. So you could graduate with all of that certifications. But once they moved down to Golightly, they became part of the academic side and the Votech side, which kind of muddled stuff, because if you were a high school with already those endorsements, then you should remain intact like that. So now they're down there at Golightly building. So it's Davis at Golightly. And so still some other career tech opportunities in that building.
Oh, wow. Oh, we have a caller on the line. Oh.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Yeah, this is James Ford from the Obama Weekend. I cannot see, and I don't know where you're at, but I'm going to just give you a few pieces of information. A very well-known person in Detroit almost got T-boned the other day. A person driving at 80 miles an hour. But for time constraint and privacy, I'm not going to mention any names. I just want to give some phone numbers. You can call the mayor's office at 313-224-3400, or you can call the police commissioner's office at 313-596-1803. I'm going to hang up now. I didn't want to cut in, but I think it's very important. I'm going to repeat those phone numbers one more time. 313-224-3400 or 313-596-1803. Thank you very much.
Now,
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Hello, Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Now, what was the second number, too?
The second number was 313-596-1803.
Whose number is that?
That right there, that's the police commissioner's office. That's the head number. The other number is the mayor's number.
Okay, now what are we calling for?
Well, you're calling because of the blatant red light running and the drag racing in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
And a very well-known person in Detroit was almost T-boned at 80 miles an hour, but I can't mention any names.
Why?
For privacy purposes and for time constraints. But I just want to say that, and I'm going to hang up. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is a serious issue that needs to be addressed.
I see it daily.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people do run the red lights.
Right. And again, I think that some of our young people are believing that it's okay to run red lights, and there are a lot of them who are high school students, and I'm of the belief that if they had a curriculum in the school that interested them, excited them, made them want to be there and learn, then some of this other would be reduced.
Now I'm going to be facetious for a moment and just say that they on four wheels and want to fly. Well, just go and become involved and go
become a pilot.
Yeah, if you want to fly, that's the best way to make your move.
Isn't that the
Less
truth?
traffic.
Okay,
Hey,
right.
that's cool.
But there is an air traffic controller up there, so
Yeah.
there is some
Even
enforcement. You can't get away with it. Even drones, you have to be properly licensed to fly a drone, because if you fly a drone in an area that's restricted, the FAA will find out about it and they will knock on your door. So even though that, as Bessie Coleman said, the only place she felt free from racial tension was in the air, and she's absolutely correct about that part of it. But because everybody, your skills is what gets you to fly from here to there. It's not about your color of your skin. However, she did have to go through a lot in order to prove herself to become a pilot. But I digress. But yeah, you can not fly in the air without some restriction. There is some restriction. Yeah.
Oh,
and that's a
wow.
good job too, air traffic controllers.
Yes, yes. And last year they were announcing that they were hiring as well.
Right.
And I have not heard anything recently, about that. So
Well, it opens up on average every 2 years or so, because the program is about 2 years. You have to be under 30, over 18. You don't have to have college, a college degree to become an air traffic controller, but it is a 2-year training.
And one thing, and we're about to go to our top of the hour break, but one thing, and I know you mentioned this before, Theo, and I know we've had Keith mention this as well, is the paycheck for this, because sometimes that's a good motivation. You know, we want people to be interested in it from the heart anyway, because that means you do a better job if it comes from the heart. But when you know what kind of money you can make from it as well, that becomes even more of an incentive to say, well, you know, let me become involved in it. And then I think that it gives a certain sense of, I want to say, purpose. You know, you feel good about yourself, because self-esteem is very important as well. You're not going to have the same, you know, no smearing of them, but you're not going to have the same self-esteem if you're flipping burgers or, you know, cooking fries as you would in a professional setting. And as a professional, I think that we should emphasize this too. That and it's a sustainable career as well, because as Theo said, we're a million plus pilots probably that we're not gonna have. So we definitely need to be able to feel that, and then you get a job that you don't have to worry about layoffs, this, that, and the other, because people are always gonna be flying. It's a very stable industry.
Yeah, it's pretty much, and you know, and to that end, there are so many opportunities coming up with aerospace technology, drones, as I mentioned earlier, where those are other areas that we need a labor force.
Right. I got you. Well, we are at the top of the hour, and we have to pause for the cause. And here at WHBS, we want to let you know, hey, we'll be back momentarily.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle. Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome my first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Our Woody Woodland here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first. They'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the chew germs. We're all in this together. Coming soon, the many adventures of these nuts in a theater near you.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit ombudsman.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
And take us along with you. Oh, that's my favorite commercial on here. Well, one of, I should say.
I like the nut people.
Yeah, right.
NUTZ.
Yes, NUTC. That's right. Oh, man. We have now been joined by Keith Hines. He always wants to tell you that he's the quiet man in the background, but we don't believe that. We don't believe that for 1 minute. Thank you for joining us, Keith Hines.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I am the
course.
quiet guy in the background. At least I think so.
Uh-huh.
Most of the time.
Uh-huh.
Some of the time.
Uh-huh.
But not this time.
Right, right. We were about to hear about some good news. Open house at the airport. And we still have our guest with us, Beverly Kendall Walker. So let us share that. We don't want that to go without, publicizing.
So in our effort to further expose young people to aviation and aerospace and just leadership development, the Civil Air Patrol, of which I'm a first lieutenant in the Civil Air Patrol at the Coleman A. Young International Airport, our squadron is having an open house on this coming Saturday, January the 28th.
Okay.
2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Coleman A. Young International Airport, which is 11499 Connor, Building 2. And that'll be 2 to 4 p.m. We'll be serving light refreshments. But for ages 12 and up, for our cadet program, and then for our senior members who are over 21 and up to, I think our oldest member is like 75. And these are people who want to help mentor young people into the field or just to become better persons. And so the senior members are background check, so we go through a process because we don't want our kids being exposed to someone who have some ulterior motives. And so everybody goes through a process of filling out an application, goes through police department for fingerprints and background checks. So we want to make sure our children are in a healthy environment. But the open house will be this coming Saturday, January the 28th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Coleman A. Young International Airport for the Civil Air Patrol. And our squadron is called the Detroit 100 Composite Squadron, and it's named after and in honor of the Tuskegee Airmen who flew the various pursuit groups, and this pursuit group is the Detroit 100. So that's the 100 Pursuit Squadron of the 332nd Group. So Mayor Coleman Alexander Young was in the 477 Bombardment Squadron, of which he was a navigator and bombardier. However, he didn't fight in the war per se overseas because the war ended. But his fight was in being against racism in the stateside in Indiana, where there was a mutiny, as they called it, because they determined that they were going to be treated just like the white people were, who had officers' privileges and officers' quarters, but the black pilots who were commissioned officers, just like they were ill-treated, and to the point that they made an observation that the German prisoners of war were treated better than our soldiers were. And so Mayor Coleman Young, he led that fight with other notable comrades of his, who was determined that we are not going to be treated this way anymore. You want us to fight for the country, but yet we're disrespected in America. So they 105 of them were arrested and faced court-martial. And so their determination was, no, we're going to do what's necessary because we're not going to be disrespected anymore. And so that was the beginning of the fight. Oh, not the beginning, the continuation of racism, because we know it still exists.
Right.
But they took a stand that this was not going to happen. So we honor Mayor Coleman Alexander Young in his forthrightness, because he was raised in the struggle, the Union. Even when he was in high school, he was discriminated against because of the color of his skin. And so that stuck with him about the inequities of racism. Right in his home. And so to think that we wouldn't continue his legacy as it relates to young people, getting them involved in overcoming obstacles, we have to do what it is that he envisioned. He said, it's good to pray, but when you're done praying, get up off your knees and do something. And so you will find that particular quote in his book, Hard Stuff, where people think he wasn't religious, but he believed in the Lord. He believed in prayer. But as I said, he said, when you get done praying, get up off your knees and do something. That's what Coleman Alexander. Now, he said a whole lot of other colorful things, but I'm not going to say those things.
Yes.
But we know him. But he was a true man to his cause, to the cause of overcoming racism, and to his love for the city of Detroit.
Right. Well, two things. One, for anyone who thought she said silver, it was civil, C-I-V-I-L.
Correct.
And then explain about officers being commissioned. What does commissioned mean?
So those are people who are properly trained in their task. So in World War II, these were people who had to take various testing, and the testings was always something that was elevated, so the military thought beyond the reach of black experience. And so black men proved the military wrong, and that they aced those tests. And so once you become a level of advancement from a infantry level to a commission, as in lieutenant, and beyond, then you're a commissioned officer, meaning that you at the rank of above entry. And so they acquired those statuses, but yet they weren't treated accordingly to what you have earned. And so they're saying that if the white man can earn a commission and the black man earned a commission, we all still entitled to the fringe benefits of have attained a special level. And so, but the black man wasn't afforded those. So they were saying, well, you can't use the officers' quarters. You can use this quarters that we created in a substandard. And so, but the black man was saying, no, we want to be treated the same. We are going to be treated the same because we're going to war, to battle just like they are. Right. So they took a stand, and they were arrested for it and charged with and court-martialed for that.
Is there a date for that? Is it acknowledged anywhere?
Oh,
the
yeah.
date that happened?
Oh, yeah. It's acknowledged. And as a matter of fact, President Bush II presented and made an apology, sort of, back in the day and presented a Congressional Medal of Honor to the Tuskegee Airmen for having gone through that, and they had the opportunity to clear their records up from being court-martialed.
Oh, wow.
Some of them, including Mayor Young, refused to accept it because they said, nope, that was history. This is what y'all did to us. But other ones did have their records clean. So it's like, nope, we're not going to change that to clear your conscience. So he didn't accept that.
Oh, Lord. Goodness.
But that's Exactly, right on, brother.
It's a mess.
Yeah, but the mayor's book, Hard Stuff, is an excellent book on his life and the things that led him to be the man he was. You know, and it's just so outstanding for Detroit history, to understand political history, and even just the struggle of being a black man. And then what do you do with that energy? And so we can read back to what the mayor did for the city of Detroit, in spite of a whole lot of odds of being a Democrat, a staunch Democrat, under a Republican presidential administration, you know, through Ronald Reagan and so on and so forth. He overcome a lot of stuff that people didn't think he could overcome because he was smart. You know, he realized he had to use what he had, and what he had was the people of Detroit, number one, behind him 100% to do what he thought was necessary to bring our city forward through some trying times.
That's right.
You know, through those various administrations.
Yeah. Keith Hines, the quiet one in the background. What's going on in your world?
Well, in my world, probably the most exciting thing is, or would be, if we could get it to happen, is to have high school children saying, gee, I'm going to graduate and make $50,000 a year. What are you going to be doing? You know, because with the skills that you get in the aviation industry, it opens up the doors to so many other vocational skills and departments and agencies. And like me, I became an electrician, International Brotherhood of Electrical Worker, IBEW. I'm retired, you know, but I got my skills from aeromechanics, which taught me everything from welding, drafting, engineering, science, you know, you just name it, working with sheet metal, even how to sew. You know, and there are so many openings in the aviation industry. I'm not saying you have to be a mechanic, but Beverly mentioned, you know, you could be an operator, you know, because someone has to land the planes and let them know when they can take off. You know, someone has to walk that plane around so that the people can get off. You know, everything, and if you go in the airport, you look around, you're going to see a whole lot of people working at the airport. And then there's going to be a whole lot of people you won't see because they're the ones that make sure those planes stay in the sky.
Right. You say walking the plane around. I know that's a term, but I just think about the dog leash, you know.
No,
anyway,
not like that. No, they have to guide it.
But I know, but it's just a term that just sounded funny. I would like to ask if you and Beverly Kendall Walker in the month of February will go to the school board meeting, because one of the things I think that might surprise school board members, if you include in a presentation there that the students graduating from the Detroit Public School can go into a career starting with $50,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And there are people still talking about, well, we want minimum wage, $15 an hour. How many years have they been talking about that? $15 an hour is probably $25 an hour now. But at the school board meeting, to make that point, that announcement to the school board members, along with those who are there in the audience, should wake some people up. We want what's best for our young people. We want them to have financial literacy. That's something else I didn't share with you before this break, that the governor has signed a bill, which the number is, I'm told, 5091, that students that graduate from high school now must pass a financial literacy test, which means that is going to be, if they haven't added it already, a part of the curriculum. And I want to make that point, and if you all will make that point about starting out in a career where they can make $50,000. You know what? 18-year-olds would think they died and went to heaven.
Oh, they sure would.
Yeah.
And you know, back in the day when we had aeromechanics, there was also a school called Cass Tech. There were 2 top schools in the city of Detroit. Everyone knew Cass Tech. That second school was aeromechanics. Had the highest graduation rate, highest point scores, but yet aeromechanics got no recognition.
Oh, I remember. And now it's sad, but I have to bring this up. Martin Luther King High School is doing well, and it doesn't get the same kind of recognition that Cass and Renaissance get. And here recently, the football team at Martin Luther King won its second. The state championship 2 years in a row. But what's important about that is the football players have high GPA. 3.5, 3.7.
Yeah, Dante Moore.
They are scholar athletes.
Right, that's my school. I
graduated.
Crusaders.
Yeah, hey, scholar athletes.
Right.
And in addition to that, they have the STEM program there. They don't get the kind of publicity.
Right. Well, because one of the things is because they treat Martin Luther King High School as a neighborhood school, which it is a neighborhood school, but it's also an accelerated program that the best can graduate from Martin Luther King High School and get a scholarship, because I would say 80% of the students who graduate from Martin Luther King High School get some type of scholarship. And that's been that way since Tabiti and I were there.
Crusaders
So,
all over the place.
Crusaders forever.
Yeah, all right.
But our football team is outstanding. Even though they went through a challenge 2 years ago with the DeWitt High School, where some of the parents at DeWitt High School kind of assaulted the parents at King High School during a football game. I'm sorry, basketball game.
What?
And so they apologized, but nevertheless, it just goes to show you racism is still here. And our students had to deal with that situation, but they overcame, and we won.
All right, now that's
the game. That is.
I got you. That's the best response. And down at the Detroit Symphony Orchestra here recently, at the I can't remember the gentleman's time. All of a sudden, but the keyboard player and some white whoever in the audience yelled out, "You nigga," and
oh yeah, I seem to remember that.
Yeah,
something about that.
At the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Oh my, you would think that would never happen there. And the musicians were like, what? They were in shock, and of course, the keyboard player was insulted. He was, he felt bad and all that, but he did. He did not quit the Symphony Orchestra, and he felt that it was important for him to return and show himself as a bigger man and all of that. Now the crazy thing is the management knows who the person is, or they found out. They have his photograph and all that, but they can't ban him from coming there. That I thought was a little strange, because this sounds like ethnic intimidation, and should have been some kind of charge or whatever that you could bring about.
Some consequences.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But apparently when it happened, the audience response to it was like he should have known right away that he was out of line.
Out of line.
But in other circumstances, people are banned for doing things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he wasn't.
Right. Why couldn't that be exercised here? There are people are banned from football games and baseball games for doing crazy things. So we'll be on the watch for another response, because that was unacceptable.
Well, yeah, prejudice still exists, and it's going to be around for a while. But what's important for us is education. I always talk about education because education is what made me. And at the time growing up, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I had people that knew what they were doing. And see, that's what we have to get back into now, is that our children need guidance. You know, they can't get it from television anymore. Definitely can't get it from the music. So it has to be us. We have to deliver. You know, because I look at some of the children now where they're not children anymore. Now they're adults, and they're walking up to me thanking me. And at the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just passing on what was passed on. You know, so as African Americans, we have to enrich our culture with our knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence, because we can't expect it to be delivered. Washington may give us some things, but it will never give us the things that we really need. So
that's sort of what the Charles Blow was saying at the Charles Wright Museum the other day for Martin Luther King Day celebration. He's a commentator and columnist for the New York Times, and he writes about racial equality, social justice, political violence, gun control, and Black Lives Matter movement. And so he was here in our fair city, and he did an excellent lecture series on just those things. And it was just really gratifying to see a relatively young person, not really young, but the young people in the audience connected with him. And I had my 11-year-old and 13-year-old niece and nephew, and they were really paying attention to him. And at the end, we were able to meet him, and they shook his hand, and they were just so excited, to meet him. But Charles Blow was really is up and coming. And the very next day, he was on MSNBC, and I was calling the kids like, "Yo, are you watching? Are you watching?" Well, we met him. We met him. So I thought that was really good. But so I'm going to leave you his information in case that you're able to connect with him.
Yes.
Because I think he would be a good person to, even if you can get him on the phone, as you said, to talk about some of this racial equality or inequality that we're facing. But we're coming up on a time where we're dealing with all of these untruths in the community, political wise, and where we need to be constant and focus on, our struggle, and not allow it to be polluted by these political opportunities out here. But we're in for some trying times. 23 is going to be really difficult with the congressional delegation that we have. But our good shining spot is the Michigan, the state of
Senate, House, and Governor being all Democrat. One party, yes, we definitely. Right.
After 40
we definitely
years.
want to see good things from them.
Amen. But we got to hold them to good things too.
Yeah, exactly. And especially when you know that the governor of Florida is banning Black history.
Yep.
Don't want it to be taught in Florida.
Oh,
okay. Right. Okay.
Here it is.
And Texas is trying to do the same thing, and they don't want the word black to be used in Florida too. By the way, but go ahead.
So we're gonna reiterate our Silver Air Patrol open house this coming Saturday. The Detroit 100 Composite Squadron. We will be having a open house from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Coleman A. Young International Airport for young people 12 years and older. We're trying to get them interested in aircraft, rocketry, drones, anything relating to aerospace, aviation, and leadership development, because kids don't know what they don't know until you tell them. So we put things in front of them to let them decide or choose that maybe this could be for me, or maybe not. But the thing of it is to provide them with some structure or how to go forward, and to begin to question, what do they want to be in their life other than, you do not want to be a bum on the corner.
Exactly.
So you have a chance while you're on K through 12 to learn something to make yourself a better person, so you can have a good outlook on life.
Right.
And so we don't want to become part of the prison population. We don't want our kids to be scuffling unnecessarily when they can take advantage of the opportunities.
Right. And it's also
the address is 11499. Thank you, Taviti. Connor, and that's at City Airport, Coleman A. Young International Airport, Building 2, and we will have refreshments. So that'll be this coming Saturday, January the 28th at the Coleman A. Young International Airport, Detroit 100 Composite Squadron for the Civil Air Patrol. That's CIVIL.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And that would be wonderful. It's something to look forward to. That's a good thing.
Oh, definitely. I know the children will love it. And the exposure to aviation is something that we should start at an early age. Because I remember me in elementary school, believe it or not, back in the day, I knew how to build the fuel for the rockets. I knew how to take I shouldn't say the ingredients on the air, but
they taught.
It was household ingredients.
They taught you all that.
Fuel.
That's great. Just to learn those kind of things. And also, what I find important is the fact that Covenant House, they've been talking about it recently, children, what do they call it, age out of foster care at 18, yes. And then they are not eligible for some of the state help.
Right.
So between the age of 18 and 24, they are vulnerable. And having the opportunity to go to Benjamin Davis Aerospace would give them a future. So they wouldn't have to worry about between 18 and 24. $50,000 salary career.
Yeah, a teenager.
You have been tuned in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. We encourage you to go to our website, which is hoodresearch.org. You can email us, contact@hoodresearch.org. Again, email contact@hoodresearch.org. Or you can call us, area code 248-234-2371. Again, area code 248-234-2371. Follow us on Twitter, but follow us. I want to thank Beverly Kendall Walker for sharing all of the positive image information that is coming for the Benjamin Davis Aerospace School and the young people in our community. And I thank you, Keith Hines, for coming with us today to share your experiences for having attended Benjamin Davis Aerospace School.
Well, thank you for having me on. And, you know, we can all be successful because ain't nothing to it but to do it. We just have to sock it to the boom boom with the mighty mighty.
Oh, shucks. As I say.
Amen.
It's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research, we seek out as much information as we can and encourage you and others to do the same to help us all make better informed decisions. Thank you. Tune in again next Monday. Peace.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback.